The vast meeting chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with activity. 500 species from across the known universe had gathered here for millennia, solving problems and keeping peace. Today, they discussed a new world called Earth. "The signals are primitive but show intelligence," said Tahoe, his blue skin glowing under the chamber lights. "We should make contact." Most council members agreed. They always welcomed new species. It was tradition to send a diplomatic ship as a gesture of peace. The Light of Harmony, their most beautiful vessel, would carry this message. Tahoe volunteered to lead the mission. As a senior diplomat, he had welcomed 12 other species to the council. Humans would be his 13th success. The Light of Harmony entered Earth's solar system slowly, broadcasting peace messages in all known languages. They hoped humans might understand at least one. The ship shimmered like a star, designed to appear beautiful and non-threatening to any species. Back on Earth, Major Jiho stared at her radar screen in the military bunker. "Unknown craft approaching, sir, not matching any known design." General Minho frowned. "Another one. That's the third this month." What the council didn't know was that for decades, humans had endured silent invasions by the Krell, vicious predators who operated beyond council space. The Krell took humans for experiments, leaving fear and suspicion in their wake. Earth governments had agreed on one policy: shoot first when unknown ships appear. "Prepare the defense satellites," ordered General Minho. "If it comes within range, fire." On the Light of Harmony, Tahoe prepared his welcome speech. His assistant Yunji checked the translation programs. "We're receiving unusual energy readings from the planet," said the pilot. "They might be trying to communicate," Tahoe replied, excited by first contact. "Move closer." The satellites fired. 26 energy beams struck the Light of Harmony simultaneously. The ship's shields, designed for space debris and solar radiation, failed instantly. "We're under attack," Yunji shouted as alarms blared. "Shields down." Tahoe rushed to the communication station. "This is Diplomat Tahoe of the Galactic Council. We come in peace. Please cease." The second volley hit before he finished speaking. The Light of Harmony, pride of the Council's diplomatic fleet, exploded in a brilliant flash that lit up Earth's sky. On the Council homeworld, the emergency session began within hours. The recording of the Light of Harmony's destruction played before the stunned representatives. "Barbaric," shouted Elder Suo, pounding his six-fingered hand on the table. "They destroyed our ship without provocation." Yuna, the Council's wisest member, raised her hand for silence. Perhaps they were afraid. New species often are. "They murdered Tahoe and 50 others," Suo countered. "This cannot stand." After heated debate, the Council voted. Earth would be classified as a dangerous world and quarantined. No ships would approach, and humans would not be allowed to leave their system. On Earth, governments scrambled to understand what had happened. The destroyed alien ship had not matched the design of Krell vessels. "What if they weren't hostile?" asked President June during the emergency meeting. "We couldn't take that chance," General Minho replied. "The Krell have been abducting humans for years. We had to protect ourselves." "But what if these were different aliens?" asked the science advisor. "What if they were peaceful?" The room fell silent as the implications sank in. 2 days later, Council enforcement ships appeared at the edges of the solar system. When Earth vessels approached, the Council ships fired warning shots and transmitted a simple message in basic mathematical code: "Stay in your system or be destroyed." Humanity, already paranoid from years of Krell encounters, saw this as confirmation of hostile intent from all alien life. The world's nations, normally divided, united against what they perceived as an existential threat. "We need better weapons," President June told the Emergency World Council. "Better ships. If they can travel between stars, they can destroy our world." "We'll need time," replied Dr. Mina, Earth's leading physicist. "Years to develop the technology." "Then we'll buy that time," said General Minho. We'll fight when they come close and work together like never before." What the Council didn't realize was that their quarantine had trapped Earth in a crucible of fear and determination. Instead of containing the threat, they had created something new, a world united in its desperation to survive, pouring all its resources into military technology. And deep in a hidden facility, engineers began drawing plans for Earth's first true battleship. They called it Nemesis. 15 years passed since the destruction of the alien ship. 15 years of humanity living under the watchful eyes of strange vessels that patrolled the edges of the solar system. Sometimes Earth ships would try to break through. They never returned. Commander Ju walked through the massive underground hangar, her footsteps echoing on the metal floor. Around her, thousands of workers moved like ants, welding, carrying, and building. The project consumed resources from every nation on Earth. "How is she today?" Ju asked Chief Engineer Minho. "Growing," he replied, looking up at the enormous shape that filled most of the cavern. "We finished the main cannon yesterday." The ENS Nemesis wasn't beautiful. Unlike the sleek alien ships they had glimpsed, the Nemesis was angular and dark, built for war rather than elegance. At 2 kilometers long, it was the largest machine humans had ever constructed. Ju had been just a young lieutenant when aliens killed her parents. Her father had been piloting one of the first ships that tried to break the blockade. Her mother had been his navigator. Their final transmission played in her dreams. "Something's locked onto us. They're firing." Now Ju would command humanity's answer to the stars that had imprisoned them. "The Council believes we're still savages," said President Hyun during that evening's briefing. "They think we're trapped here, developing slowly while they watch." "They're wrong," replied Defense Minister Suk, bringing up holographic images of the Nemesis. "We recovered technology from the few alien ships we managed to damage. We've learned more in 15 years than we might have in a century." The room fell silent as they contemplated what lay ahead. The Nemesis wasn't just a ship, it was humanity's only hope. "If we fail," said Ju quietly, "there won't be a second chance. They'll destroy us." Across the solar system, the alien blockade continued its silent patrol. The Council ships maintained their distance, occasionally capturing human probes for study. Their commanders reported back to the Council with growing concern. "They're advancing faster than predicted," reported Captain Taman to the Council session. "Their scientific development has accelerated dramatically." Elder Nari scoffed. "They're still trapped in their system, using chemical rockets and primitive fission power." "Not anymore," Taman replied grimly. "Our last capture included components we don't recognize. They're not following normal technological development paths. They're focusing entirely on weapons and propulsion." "Unsurprising for savages," another council member commented. Only Doyen, the merchant prince whose species had once faced extinction, looked troubled. "Fear is a powerful motivator," he said softly. "We should reconsider our approach." His words went unheeded. Back on Earth, the final preparations for the Nemesis were underway. The ship carried weapons that could crack planets, shields designed to withstand anything, and engines that would tear holes in space itself. During the last inspection, Ju stood before her crew of 500, the best minds and soldiers Earth had to offer. "Some of you were children when the blockade began," she said. "All of you have grown up looking at stars we cannot reach. Tomorrow, that changes." Engineer Minho approached her after the speech. "Commander, there's something you should know." He handed her a tablet. "We've been analyzing the communication patterns of the blockade ships. They're not all the same." Ju studied the data. "Different species, different factions, we think. They communicate differently. Some seem more aggressive than others. It's almost like they don't fully agree on how to handle us." Ju finished. This was valuable information. Perhaps they could exploit these differences. The night before launch, Ju stood alone on the observation deck, looking at the stars through armored glass. Somewhere out there were answers about why aliens had attacked Earth, why they maintained this prison around humanity's home. "We're coming for those answers," she whispered. The launch was scheduled for dawn. The Nemesis would rise from its hidden base beneath the Pacific Ocean, breaking through the waves like some metal leviathan. Then it would make a running fight to the edge of the solar system, where it would activate its new drive. Technology reverse-engineered from captured alien fragments. Juwu didn't know if they would survive the attempt. She didn't know what waited beyond the blockade. But as she prepared for sleep on her final night on Earth, she knew one thing with absolute certainty. The galaxy was about to meet humanity on new terms, and if the aliens had thought humans were dangerous before, they were about to learn the true meaning of fear. The ocean parted like a curtain as the Nemesis rose. Seawater cascaded off its dark hull, reflecting the early morning sun. Birds scattered from the massive shape climbing into the blue sky. On the bridge, Commander Juwu gripped the arms of her command chair. 15 years of preparation had led to this moment. "All systems operational," reported Lieutenant Juno from the tactical station. "Weapons hot." "Shield status?" Juwu asked. "Shields at maximum," Engineer Minho replied. "They've never been tested against alien weapons, but the simulations look good." The Nemesis climbed higher, breaking through clouds, reaching toward space. Everyone on the bridge held their breath, waiting for the blockade ships to notice them. They didn't wait long. "Multiple contacts," called out Juno. "The blockade is responding. 3 ships changing course to intercept." Juwu nodded calmly. "As expected, prepare the main cannon." In the control center of the blockade fleet, Admiral Ron received the alert with annoyance. The humans periodically tried to break free, usually with small, primitive craft. His ships always forced them back or destroyed them if they persisted. "What are they sending this time?" he asked his sensor officer. "Unknown design, sir, much larger than previous attempts." Ron flicked his tail dismissively. "Size matters little. Send the usual warning." The sensor officer hesitated. "Sir, energy readings are unusual. This ship appears to have significant power." "Impossible," Ron said. "Their technology is centuries behind ours. Send 3 cruisers to intercept." Back on the Nemesis, Juwu watched the alien ships approach on the main viewer. They were beautiful in their way, sleek, silver shapes that moved with impossible grace. "They're broadcasting the standard warning," Communications Officer Sora reported. "Ignore it," Juwu replied. "Continue acceleration. Prepare jump engines." The alien cruisers fired warning shots, energy beams that flashed past the Nemesis. "They expect us to turn back now," Juwu said, a small smile forming on her lips. "Signal all hands. Prepare for battle." The Nemesis suddenly accelerated, its massive engines flaring with blue fire. The alien ships adjusted course, clearly surprised by the human vessel's speed. "They're targeting us directly now," Juno reported. "Their weapons are powering up." "Let them fire first," Juwu ordered. "I want clear evidence for the record that we were attacked." The lead alien cruiser fired. A beam of bright energy struck the Nemesis and dissipated against its shields. "Shield impact at 30% capacity," Minho reported, sounding relieved. "Holding steady." Juwu leaned forward. "Now it's our turn. Main cannon, target the lid ship. Fire." The front of the Nemesis split open, revealing the massive weapon that had been the focus of human engineering for a decade. It gathered energy for 3 seconds, then released a blinding beam that struck the alien cruiser. The alien ship didn't just take damage, it shattered, breaking into pieces that tumbled through space. On the blockade command ship, Admiral Ron stared at his display in shock. "Impossible." "Sir, we've lost the sunward light," his tactical officer reported, voice shaking. "Completely destroyed. All ships, focus fire on the human vessel," Ron ordered. 20 beams struck the Nemesis simultaneously. Its shields flared but held. "Shield capacity at 60%, Minho reported, wiping sweat from his brow. "They're hitting us with everything." "Target the next 2 ships," Juwu ordered calmly. Secondary weapons spread fire to suppress the others. The Nemesis fired again, its main cannon slicing through another alien cruiser. Smaller weapons batteries opened up, sending hundreds of missiles toward the blockade fleet. The aliens had never seen such weapons, missiles that changed course to avoid defenses, carrying warheads that disrupted their shield harmonics before detonating. "Sir, we've lost the Eternal Vigilance," the tactical officer reported. 3 more ships heavily damaged. Admiral Ron couldn't believe what he was seeing. 1 human ship was decimating his fleet. On the Nemesis, Juwu opened a communication channel. "This is Commander Juwu of the Earth Naval Ship Nemesis." She broadcast on all frequencies. "Your blockade of Earth ends today. Either withdraw your forces or be destroyed." The battle lasted 13 minutes. When it ended, half the Council fleet was debris floating in space. The Nemesis had taken damage. Scorch marks marred its hull, and 1 engine was operating at reduced capacity, but it remained operational. "Jump engines ready," Minho reported. Jiwoo nodded. "Set course for the Council homeworld. The blockade is broken. Now we deliver our message to those responsible." As the Nemesis prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, Admiral Ron sent an urgent message to the Galactic Council. His hand shook as he composed it. "Human warship has broken blockade. Nothing like it ever seen. They're coming." The Nemesis vanished in a flash of light, leaving behind destruction and fear, emotions the Council had never expected to feel again. The message reached the Galactic Council headquarters before the Nemesis did. The emergency signal bypassed normal protocols, flashing directly to the highest levels of government. Elder Neri was enjoying his evening meal when his communication device interrupted him. He scowled as he read Admiral Ron's report. "Ridiculous," he muttered. But as he reviewed the attached battle footage, his 4 hearts began to race. The human ship moved unlike anything he had seen before. It absorbed attacks that should have destroyed it instantly, and its weapons. He called an emergency council session immediately. Within hours, the Great Council chamber was filled with nervous representatives from hundreds of worlds. The recorded images of the battle played on the main screen, showing the Nemesis tearing through the blockade fleet. "How is this possible?" demanded Councillor Taeyong, his scales rippling with agitation. "They were primitives just decades ago." Elder Neri raised his hands for quiet. "The humans have clearly been hiding their true technological level. This was a deliberate deception." Merchant Prince Doyun, always the pragmatist, shook his head. "No deception. This is the result of our policy. We threatened them, isolated them, and gave them 15 years to prepare. And now they come for us," whispered another council member. Dohyun looked around the chamber. "We should prepare to negotiate. This ship, this Nemesis, destroyed half a fleet. If they built 1 such vessel, they could build more," finished Elder Neri, his skin paling to a sickly yellow. The council's military advisor stepped forward. "We have defenses around Centaurus Prime. We can destroy 1 ship, no matter how powerful." "Are you certain?" asked Doyun. Admiral Ron was certain too. Meanwhile, aboard the Nemesis, Commander Jiwoo studied the captured data from the blockade ships. What she found disturbed her deeply. "The first contact," she said to her senior officers gathered in the briefing room. "It wasn't an attack. It was a diplomatic mission." Lieutenant Juno frowned. "That can't be right. They fired on us first." "No," Jiwoo said, displaying the records she'd extracted. "We fired first. Earth destroyed a diplomatic vessel." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. 15 years of isolation, preparation for war, all based on a terrible misunderstanding. "There's more," Jiwoo continued. "The Krell, the aliens who were abducting humans before first contact, they're not part of this Galactic Council. They're raiders who operate beyond Council space." Engineer Minho leaned forward. "So the Council didn't know about the Krell attacks on Earth. They didn't understand why we were so quick to fire." "Exactly," said Jiwoo. We thought we were defending ourselves from more Krell. They thought we were unprovoked savages. Security Chief Jinwoo slammed his fist on the table. So what? They've kept us prisoner for 15 years. Do you know how many died trying to break the blockade? How many resources we've poured into this ship instead of helping our people? Jinwoo understood his anger. She felt it too. But now she faced a difficult question. What was their mission now? Vengeance or truth? We continue to the Council homeworld, she decided. But our message has changed. The Nemesis dropped out of hyperspace near Centaurus Prime, the beautiful blue-green homeworld of the Galactic Council. Immediately, defense platforms and ships moved to surround it. On the planet below, panic spread through the Council. The human ship had arrived much faster than expected. How did they cross 300 light-years in 2 days? Demanded Elder Neri. Our fastest ships would take at least a week. Their drive technology appears to be entirely different from ours, replied the science advisor. They've taken a completely different development path. In the council chamber, debates raged about how to respond. Some wanted immediate attack, fearing the human ship carried planet-destroying weapons. Others urged caution, noting the Nemesis had made no aggressive moves since arriving. Then a message came from the human ship, displayed on screens throughout the chamber. We request permission to address the council directly. We have discovered the truth about first contact and wish to resolve this conflict peacefully. Elder Nari scoffed. A trick to lower our defenses. But Do-Yun stood firm. If they wanted to attack, they would have done so already. This may be our only chance to avoid full-scale war with a species that can build ships like the Nemesis. After heated debate, the council agreed to allow a small delegation from the human ship to land. Security would be at maximum, of course. As Jinwoo prepared to board the shuttle, Engineer Minho approached her. Commander, if they betray us, the Nemesis will respond, she assured him. But I don't think they will. They're frightened, Minho. They've never seen anything like us before. Good, he said, checking her protective suit one last time. Maybe fear will make them listen. The old lighthouse stood silent on the rocky cliff, watching the restless sea. Emma knew something was different that evening. The wind whispered secrets, and shadows seemed to move between the rocks when no one was looking. She had inherited this lighthouse from her grandfather, a man who rarely spoke about its history. The wooden floors creaked with memories, and the walls held stories that no one had ever told. Emma felt a strange tension in the air, like something was waiting to reveal itself. As darkness fell, she noticed a peculiar glow coming from the basement. It wasn't like normal light. This was a soft, pulsing shimmer that seemed to breathe with its own rhythm. Her hands trembled as she approached the basement door. The wooden steps groaned under her weight. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if some invisible force was trying to push her back. The strange light grew stronger, casting weird shadows on the old stone walls. Dust danced in the unusual glow, spinning like tiny ghostly dancers. In the corner of the basement, hidden behind old trunks and forgotten fishing nets, stood an ancient wooden chest. Emma had seen it many times before, but tonight it looked different. The metal clasps seemed to shine with an unnatural brightness, and the wood looked like it was breathing. Her grandfather's journal lay nearby. She remembered how he would always keep it locked away, warning her never to open certain pages. But curiosity was stronger than fear. Her fingers traced the old leather cover, feeling the rough texture of years of hidden stories. When she opened the chest, a cold wind rushed past her. The objects inside weren't ordinary. Strange artifacts lay carefully arranged. A compass that didn't point north, a map with impossible locations, and a small glass bottle containing something that definitely wasn't water. The bottle caught her attention. Inside, a dark liquid swirled and moved even when she held it completely still. Tiny shapes seemed to dance within its depths, shapes that looked almost like tiny human figures, but not quite human. Emma's heart raced. She understood now why her grandfather had kept these things hidden. These weren't just old objects. They were something more, something that carried a weight of mystery and danger. A sound from upstairs made her jump. Footsteps. But she was alone in the lighthouse. The floorboards above her creaked with slow, deliberate movements. Something was walking. Something that wasn't human. The lighthouse keeper's rule had always been simple. Some secrets are meant to stay buried. But Emma had disturbed something ancient, something that had been waiting quietly for years. The glass bottle began to vibrate. The compass needle spun wildly. The map's edges started to curl and twist, revealing strange symbols that seemed to move and change shape. Emma realized she had opened a door that should have remained closed. Outside, the sea grew angry. Waves crashed against the rocks with unusual force. The wind howled like 1,000 whispers, carrying warnings from places no one could understand. The lighthouse lamp flickered, casting wild shadows that danced with strange intentions. Emma clutched her grandfather's journal, hoping to find answers. But the pages seemed to blur, words shifting and changing. The story was revealing itself, but not in ways she could easily understand. Something was coming. Something old and patient. Something that had been waiting in the shadows of this lighthouse for generations. And now, because of her curiosity, it was finally awake. The basement grew colder. The strange light pulsed faster. Emma knew she had stepped into a world beyond normal understanding. A world where objects held memories, where silence spoke volumes, and where the line between reality and something else was paper thin. Her hands shook. Her breath formed small clouds in the suddenly freezing air. And in that moment, she understood that some inheritances come with a price. Some secrets are better left undiscovered. The lighthouse stood silent again, holding its breath, waiting to see what would happen next.